Greg Hunt, thanks for your time. The Coalition opposed this part of the climate change, carbon pricing package from the start. Now it's gone, but you say this is chaos. Why not welcome the government's decision here?
Well, it is chaos because it's part of a collapsing carbon tax package. We've had bailouts. We've had changes to the list of liable entities. We've had changes to the business qualifications for compensation. Last week, we had the collapse of the floor price a week after Greg Combet said on your program they wouldn't be changing it. This week, we've got a radical change with the collapse of the contracts for closure. The entire carbon tax package is falling apart. We predicted it, we foresaw it, we forewarned about it, and that's what's occurring. There's no joy in seeing an economic crisis and ensuing chaos unfold, even if you've warned about it.
These words crisis and chaos are pretty strong. Just to be clear, though, you do welcome what the government's done today.
Well, we've never supported the contracts for closure. Our view is that we should be cleaning up, not closing down our power stations, and we always thought it wouldn't work. The companies were very upfront. They said, we don't think this is going to work. So it's part of a pattern where, at the macro level, the government has wasted the boom. They have squandered the boom because they just don't, in their DNA, understand sensible decision making. It's all about big announcement and inevitably big failure. And at the specific level, this particular program was badly conceived, badly designed. On the one hand, you have payments through what's called the Energy Security Fund to keep the power stations open. On the other hand, you've got payments to the same companies to close the same power stations. It's no wonder it's not working.
Can I ask you about your direct action policy to pay power generators to clean up their act rather than shut down? What exactly would you be paying them to do?
Well, let me give you a series of examples. You could be capturing carbon and CO2 and other emissions in the flue stack and using it to reduce emissions by converting to algal energy. You could be involved in energy efficiency or conversion from coal to gas. They're the three things we've talked about since the 2nd of February 2010. And right now, the big firms are talking with us about cleaning up their power stations, and what they've been saying for some considerable period is, we don't think the government system is going to work, but boy, we are very interested in working with an approach which is about providing incentives for real emissions reduction.
Just to take up one of those examples you've given there, converting from coal to gas, you might be able to help them with that transition, but there's an ongoing cost, isn't there? Gas costs more than coal. So what would you do? Keep subsidising in perpetuity, or would this mean higher electricity prices?
No, what we did is we set out in the original proposal a plan which included the fact that the capital cost would make sure that there was no differential between the price of current coal-fired electricity and gas. So that is built into the price structure that we had right from the outset, right from day one, right from the first press conference on the 2nd of February 2010. So it was conceived and contemplated, and it represents the difference between the two sides. I honestly don't think they've got any idea what they are doing. How could you have home insulation?
Just to be clear on what you're doing here, though, are you saying you would have ongoing payments to these power companies if they do convert to gas?
Well, nothing's changed from our first announcement.
What is that? Is there going to be ongoing payments or not?
Now, what we've said, with great respect, is that we would have an initial bidding price, and what that means is if they want to convert from coal to gas, they would have to include an equalisation of the electricity prices as part of their bid. So that was, from day one, exactly what we said, and we contemplated, we included it, we budgeted for it, but nothing has to come from any one source under our system.
So that initial payment you give them to make that transition to gas would have to be big enough to make sure that electricity prices never rise?
Not as a consequence of our particular actions. So what we're focused on here is the difference between what the policies do in terms of the impact. We will not be adding to electricity prices, and with the reduction of the carbon tax, we will take away pressures on electricity prices, and that's the difference between the two sides.
Greg Hunt, thank you.
Thanks, David.
After the break, we're going to take a look at all of this and more. We've seen a couple of interesting online contributions this week from Kevin Rudd and also Gina Reinhardt, our panel this afternoon, Sam Maiden and Jacqueline Maley. Stay with us.